All right, so we're looking at the Iroquois constitution, if you will. And one of the things that I asked you in the module is to kind of think about, like, where do you see some connections to the women who fell from the sky story that we started off with? And I think you can see quite a few just right away, right? There's the Great Tree of Peace. Its roots are going, west, north, south, east, like all the directions there. But again, that connection to nature. It talks about the leaves, the tree of the long leaves. At the top of the tree of the long leaves is an eagle who can see out. So there's the role of nature, the role of animals that we saw in the woman who fell from the sky. Also the role of women was evident in this constitution that we also saw in the woman who fell from the sky. In this excerpt, it tells us that the lineal descent of the people of the five nations goes through the female line. Women are considered to be the ones who give birth to the nation, it tells us, and they are the owners of the land and the soil. That's a significant point. We're going to see in our class, women won't even own their property. There'll start to be some married women's property acts in the 1840s, but they're not really throughout the whole United States until the end of our class in the 1860s. And even then, women might be able to come have the property that they bring to their marriage, but they don't own any wages. Any wages they make while they're married is not theirs. Yet in this community, women are the owners of the land and the soil. This is a good, early 1400s, before Europeans arrive, is when this allegiance is created, or alliance is created. Allegiance to the five nations, I suppose we could say. So we can definitely see the role of nature, the role of women that we saw in the woman who fell from the sky. Now, the other thing to point out about this document is it does tell us a little bit about life before, again, Europeans arrived, in that there is an alliance that was formed among these five nations, which suggests that they need that strength, that other people want stuff that they have, and there's a need to maybe protect it. They note, though, that if we went through and counted, I think we see peace in here more than we see war. But there is the understanding that they're willing to wage war to ensure peace, right? They say here at the bottom that they will become warriors ready for battle to oppose those nations that have refused to accept the great peace. They'll welcome you in, right? They'll welcome shelter to people, they say, as long as they're obedient and they promise to obey. So they're welcoming, but you've got to go by the rules that we've set up. And then they do note that if they're under threat or under attack, right, they are willing to engage in war and also have strength in the alliance that they formed with one another. So again, this document's significant for a handful of reasons. We can see some of those themes that we saw in The Woman Who Fell from the Sky with nature and with women. It also, though, tells us a little bit about life before pre-15th century, late 15th century, when Europeans enter into the Western Hemisphere. And we can see that even though we sometimes tend to think of Native Americans as Native Americans, they see themselves as they don't see themselves, they are members of different nations. And sometimes those nations supported one another and got along with one another, and other times those nations made war with one another. And we can see here at least one tactic or one method of trying to make that situation work. All right, I hope that helped a little bit, kind of working through that Iroquois Constitution. If you have any questions, you can be sure and put those in the discussion board or send me an email. Take care. Bye-bye.